right, Terry, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you coming on this morning and excited for this interview. We've been together for what, 3, 4 months at this point
Yeah, it's
now?
been, I joined the mentorship in January officially and then
January, February,
started
March,
trading
April,
in.
May. So around 5 months. They're on the fifth mark, fifth month. Perfect. First question for you. I obviously know your situation. I know kind of your history, your background. So if you can talk a little bit about yourself and what got you into trading, how you found me, what made you join the mentorship, and just a little bit of background around yourself, like maybe your experience or your prior job and like kind of what got you into this and just everything about you.
Sure. Okay. Well, good morning again. Thanks for the interview and allowing me to share my story. So, I I kind of always been involved or interested in trading. I have a finance degree, and so I was always into long-term trading, which I did, pretty well in over the years. Um, And around this summer, I decided to, last summer actually, I decided to, started thinking really about getting into day trading. And so it was about August where I joined a Discord and found another mentor. And I was trading options at the time. And I really, dove into it. And like I said, I had a mentor. I was in the trading community. I was reading all sorts of books, trying to just learn as much as possible. Um, and while I've had some success, it was really inconsistent results. And I felt that that I could do a lot better, right? I was really determined to be successful at this, and I was approaching retirement. So I was a federal law enforcement officer for 21 years, and I retired from my job, excuse me, in the end of November 2024. And so I was really all in. I really wanted to be successful at this, and basically utilize day trading as income, right, for retirement and not have to reach into my pension. And so, inconsistent results. I found you on TikTok, and I was just kind of, this was probably like the beginning of December, and I was kind of following you and seeing your results, and I took your 10 hour free course. Really liked your approach to trading, although it was different from options. What really drove me to you, to seek your mentorship, was just how you simplified things, right? I was using all these fancy indicators before, and you really broke it down into trading is really simple, and while it's hard, with the way that we approach things is very simple. And of course, reading and seeing all your stories on Instagram and TikTok of your student results, I was just like, gosh, this is crazy. I've never seen people with such crazy results. And so then, at the end of December, I reached out to you, and that's when I decided to go ahead and join your mentorship. It was just, again, to me, I really wanted to find someone that was going to, help me become successful at this, because again, I was really determined, and I had faith in you. You were very transparent with your results on a daily basis, and then just reading and seeing all your student results, and so that's what led me to you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I still remember us talking over the DMs and you getting into the program. So, and yeah, that was early January, which is crazy because we've had a crazy year. Can you talk a little bit about kind of like your first steps in the mentorship? Maybe how long it took you to complete the university, how long you paper traded for, when you transitioned into real money, and then a little glimpse of kind of the results. Because I think specifically for you, you are really one of my most successful students in terms of how quickly you were able to scale your trading. And I know the results, but once the people listening to this video are going to hear it, it's insane, honestly. And I applaud you, seriously. It's amazing.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. So like I said, I joined at the beginning of the year. So January 2025. I started, it took me about 2 weeks to complete the university. During that time though, I was in the trading community with you guys live, right? So I was listening to you and watching you and the students trade live. And so I decided, to paper trade for about 3 weeks. And the reason I decided to do that, although I had experience in trading options, is completely different, right? And your
Hmm.
approach to trading was completely different from the way that I learned it initially. And so I really just wanted to get a good understanding of your approach and basically unlearn everything, that I had learned previously. Um, and I really liked your approach to risk management, which was really key. And so after about 3 weeks of paper trading, I decided to go ahead and go with live money. Kept my risk generally pretty small. I would say about the first 2 to 3 weeks. The first day I made $500, which was just crazy. Um,
That's crazy.
and then as I started scaling my risks, I went from like $20 to $50 to $100, and now I'm at about $300 risk per trade. But that first month of trading from mid-February to first 30 days, I made over $40,000, which is mind blowing. And then really that second month is where everything just kind of really clicked, and I felt confident to scale my risk, and I made $63,000. So just crazy. The first 2 months of trading, I made $103,000, and I'm just like, this is bananas. I as a GS-14 in the government, I was making $189,000 a year, and here I am in the first 2 months of trading. I'm, almost surpassing that. It's just crazy.
That is crazy. Would you say your prior experience with options helped you, or would you say it was just completely based off just you? It just clicked with like my methodology and our style, or do you think there was some help, or was it completely kind of separate?
I think to a certain extent it helped as far as like knowing and understanding some of the things that you were talking about, like with the charts and the candles. And so I think that background definitely helped for sure. But like I said, the approach to trading stocks versus options, I think is just
It's very
completely
different.
different. Yeah, it's just different. And so I really had to unlearn a lot of that stuff. And but for sure, like, just the basics of understanding, charts and the candles, I think definitely helped. And so then, like I said, once you're, knowing and understanding your trading methodology, which is, just a really simple approach, the 20 MA and the 200 MA, and just keep it simple and just really look for the quality setups, everything just started to click. And, I've seen insane results. It's just, I can't even, I talk to family and friends, and they're just like, that's just crazy. Like, how have
It's
you,
crazy.
how
It
have you seen
is.
such crazy results in such a short amount of time? And I'm like, well, it is insane, but and they don't believe it. And I'm just like, it's true, and I've talked to some people that reached out to me. They're on the fence of joining your mentorship. And I'm like, it's true. Like, it's not, people think that it's fake, when they see it on Instagram and TikTok, your student results. And it's true. I see it every day with the students in the mentorship and the results. And it's just amazing. You're truly, truly, truly changing people's lives.
Thank you. I appreciate that. How were the last few weeks? Because I know the last 2 weeks of April have were a little slower. I personally thought last week was good. This week was decent as well. How has like the last few weeks of your trading been?
It's been a little bit slower for sure. And so it's definitely been an adjustment, right? Because the first 2 months, like, boom, right out the gate, and it was a great trading environment. And so, the environment has shifted, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it's had to be an adjustment for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been a little bit slower, but the key, right, is just as you always say, is to keep the first key of being a good trader is not losing money. And so, that's what I really try to focus on is, being consistent with, not necessarily being profitable, but just not losing money. And while it's slowed down, a lot for sure, we're adjusting, I think, as a trading family.
I agree.
And, I'm not stressing about it because I'm still making money. I'm not seeing, crazy amounts of money daily like I was before, but I know that's going to come, right? The trading environment kind of ebbs and flows, but
Yeah.
the key is that we're all making adjustments and we're still profitable.
Yeah, 100%. We'll get back to that, amazing environment. Exactly what you said. It's a process like throughout the year. There's some months are slower, some months are busier. Plus, I feel like recently we've been doing a lot more chart trades where we're getting into something,
Yep.
then giving it the stop, holding it. And, a lot of students have been able to make money, adapting to that, which is really good. What would
Yeah.
you say was your biggest challenge with trading, since you joined the mentorship, kind of in your own personal trading, and how did the mentorship kind of help you resolve that? And I guess, I mean, based off your results, it sounds like you didn't have any challenges, but I know there are, I know because I just know how trading is. Everyone has little things in their trading that just bothers them. Like, what was that for you, and how were you able to kind of overcome that?
Yeah, so definitely, right? Everybody has challenges. And for me, um, really coming into the mentorship and then, my journey with you is just really focus on not over trading, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was definitely a challenge for me, thinking that I had to be trading every minute of the day. And so you've really helped me to focus on, taking those quality setups, just again, like we said, right, the environment has kind of changed a little bit. It's not as busy. And so, there, when it's busy, right, if you make a mistake, um, you can kind of overcome that because
Yeah,
there's,
exactly. Yeah.
other setups throughout the day. But now that it's slowed down a little bit, we really have to be intentional with the trades that we take because there's, less room for error.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've really helped me just focus on taking quality setups versus just, hey, it's based off of the level two. And, if I make a mistake, I can always overcome that. So that's really been key for me. So I really thank you for that because, you do a great job throughout the day of teaching us constantly, right? And really helping us with the psychology of trading, which is huge, right? I mean, that's a huge part of trading is the psychology. And for me, it was just over trading, which I think I've intentionally focused on
Mm-hmm.
taking quality setups.
Exactly. Plus, when you joined, it was so busy that
Yeah.
the more you traded, the more money you made. And
Yeah.
sometimes it shifts where it's like, okay, now the less I trade, the more money I make, right? Being more
Yeah.
selective. So
For sure.
100%. I feel like half the day I'm literally just talking, like I'm essentially repeating the same thing every day, but it's good to reinforce because you get sometimes like in trading, I'll come into the day thinking one thing and then 2 hours in I'll like forget, right? Like I remember that used to happen to me years ago. I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be composed. Then 2 hours in, I'm kind of like scrambling a little bit. So it's good to like, I always try to, most of the, like during the live trading, it's obviously calling out plays, but it's more mindset and psychology coaching as
Absolutely.
opposed to like
Yeah.
actual charts.
Yeah, no, and I that's what I truly appreciate. You're constantly teaching us, and again, just kind of walking us through the psychology, and it's imperative, right? Because a lot of us are new, right? We're newer, um, and so yeah, it's huge that you're doing that every single day, and it truly is helpful.
Thank you. Thank you. So another question for you. With your results, like you mentioned it earlier, like people just didn't really believe you. It like from an outside perspective, it sounds crazy, but then once you kind of know the scalping and how we trade, it makes sense how you could scale it so quick, right? Especially once you scale your risk plus a good environment. But how has this like affected your life to this point between family or just your personal life? Like what has this kind of done for you?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, again, I'm retired, right? And so I have my pension, I have the 401k, which is a TSP in the government, and so I haven't had to touch any of that, right? I've basically have just used the income from trading uh, to supplement, you know, my my everyday my everyday life, right? So I basically just use everything that I make from trading to support the family, and I don't worry about bills and having to. Yeah, of course we all have a budget, right? But the key thing for me is that I'm not having to touch my pension, and I can
Hmm.
kind of take those trips, get the mani pedis, and go out to dinner, and it's just not having to worry about money, right? And I that's just huge, right, for anybody, but in particular, for me, I'm kind of young, younger, 52, and retired, and so I have to kind of make that pension and TSP last, right, a long time, and so trading for me is just it's my job now. That's the way I approach it. It's my job and primary income. And so it's just been crazy. We're planning a huge European vacation next summer, and those are just some things that it's less worry for me, right? Not having to worry about um, diving into my
Hmm.
pension. And I know that I can continue this, right, for the rest of my life. It's a skill set that we can carry,
Forever.
basically,
Yeah.
the rest of their lives. So it's been crazy. It's been huge. Again, family and friends are like, hey, teach me, and I'm like, yeah, I'll try to teach you, right? But really, really need to join Emmanuel's mentorship if you're really serious.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I agree. I think for most people, it's like peace of mind. Like, I think online, you see a lot of people that kind of like show off the cars or like the materialistic stuff. That's a result of trading. But for most people, like, they're not, yeah, like maybe some people want a new car, but it's mostly peace of mind. Like, that's what really changes your life, in my opinion. Like, not worrying about the little things. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
completely get it. Yeah, it's been crazy, by the way. Like, seriously, like you've been one of, like, I have students that progress at different paces, but for you, it like instantly clicked, which is so impressive. And I'm so interested. Like, I feel like it has to be. I've had a theory that I've had students that are also in law enforcement or firefighters or ex-military, and they tend to, funny enough, pick it up much faster. And I think it's just because the discipline part, because you have to be a disciplined person to work the job that you did. And with trading, the little details are, like you said, kind of simple. The hard part is being disciplined about your plan, about your psychology. Like, what do you think really, like, had it click so fast? Would you agree that it was the discipline, or what do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I would agree that discipline is huge, right? And knowing when to take a trade, when not to take a trade, again, like knowing when not to overtrade, um really sticking to my trading plan. And of course, right, we all kind of FOMO into trades every now and again, or revenge trade, and so it's really just dialing it back and learning from those mistakes, and then just being intentional with sticking to the trading plan, and being disciplined, like you said. And
Hmm.
it's a daily thing, though, right? I mean, um, it's hard. It's hard to be disciplined, and it's hard to not, jump into a trade when everybody else is making money and you miss the entry. Um, but I always go back to what you tell us, and that you have to be intentional and don't just take a trade to take a trade, right?
Hmm.
Make sure that it's a quality setup, and yeah, the key is to not lose money, and that's what I always focus on every day. I'm fine if I break even, but like, and obviously fantastic if I make money, but just don't lose money, right? And when I do lose money, which hasn't been, very often, thankfully, um, I just go back and analyze the why. What did I do? What could I have done differently? And inevitably, it comes down to the simple things of, hey, I just took a bad setup. I FOMO'd, I revenge
Hmm.
traded, and kind of refocused the next day. And that's the great thing about trading, right? The mistakes that you made yesterday, every day is a new day, and you have an opportunity to correct those mistakes.
100%. Okay, great. I got two more questions for you. Number one, what would you say is your favorite part about being in the mentorship?
I mean, just learning from you, right? Learning from you first and foremost is awesome. You're on the microphone, every single day for 3 to 6 hours a day, and just learning and trying to pick up every ounce of learning nugget from you is key, which I really appreciate because you're always open to answering any questions throughout the day. Again, you're always kind of coaching us on the psychology throughout the day. So first and foremost, it's just learning from you. And then, of course, second is just the camaraderie from the group,
Yeah.
in the trading group. And there's some great ideas, some great traders in the room, and we're always bouncing ideas off of each other. But it's also the camaraderie. It's super fun to come in and trade with you in the community every day. And yeah, I wake up looking forward to trade every single day, and it's kind of like a bummer on the weekends, right? It's the opposite now. Like
Yeah.
I'm bummed that the weekends come, and I'm looking forward to Mondays
Hmm.
every single week. So it's been really fun. Been really fun to be in this mentorship, and I'm truly, truly blessed. So thank you.
Of course. Of course. Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably one of the best parts. Like looking forward to trading, and then because like most people, they kind of like sometimes dread going to work on Mondays. But it's I agree, it's
Cheers.
fun. Like I traded by myself or like with my dad first few years of my trading, and it's a lot of fun trading in the community. Like especially
Yeah.
like the other week when we were like in the open or the plug, like those trades that like they took 2 hours to play out
Yeah.
and just being in it, but then like we joke as we're waiting for it to really drop and then it drop. It's just a lot of fun, honestly. Like I agree.
Yeah. I really enjoy Griffin
Yeah,
making making jokes at you, your buddy there. So
yeah,
shout
exactly.
out to Griff.
Yeah, it is funny. He always says things I could tell he's trying to like kind of like get under my skin a little bit, but I know like
Yeah.
what he's it's really funny. I agree. All right, perfect. I guess my last question is if someone was on the fence about joining the mentorship, or let's say you could talk back to yourself when you were about to join and you were on the fence, what would you say to that person or yourself?
I would say, just do it, right? I mean, you're not going to regret it. Like it may seem unbelievable, improbable, like these results are insane, and it may seem fake, but it's not. Like it's life changing, really. I mean, in my case, yeah, I'm just one of many stories, people's lives that you have touched and changed. And so, if you're on the fence of joining Emmanuel's mentorship, like just do it, right? If you have the financial means to do it, and you're truly, truly dedicated and serious about trading, you're not going to regret it. Absolutely, 100%. Just do it.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Well, thank you. And then I guess if you have any questions for me, happy to answer anything that is on your mind. But I also just want to say, like, you're just congratulations. Like, I'm as a mentor, I'm very proud because it's very fulfilling as a teacher to teach someone who's constantly improving. You're never like I've had students that like complain about the market conditions or whatever. You're always just nope, I'm going to improve. I'm going to make money. It's on me. And it's just a pleasure seeing your results, seriously, because like that's on one hand one of my favorite parts about having mentees is it's truly fulfilling seeing the results, especially with you like seeing your because you text me pretty frequently sharing your stuff. It's like I always look at it, I'm like wow, like it makes my day. So,
Yeah, no,
it's
thank you,
amazing.
thank you. It's been great. It's been a great journey and experience so far, and I look forward to continuing to learn from you and the community, for many years to come.
Absolutely, absolutely perfect. I guess if you have any questions for me, we can. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no, thank you, Emmanuel. I appreciate it. I don't have any questions.
Okay.